Hi, good evening everybody. I hope everyone is doing fine. Welcome to my sewing room, and if you're just tuning in and haven't watched before, I'm Jerry Ford, and I've been sewing my entire life, and so I've been teaching. I've got lots of classes in the video section of this Facebook page, so you're always welcome to look at those, and if you have any questions, you can always shoot me an email and I'll be happy to answer any questions. So what are we going to do tonight? What we're going to do is we're going to be making, we originally were supposed to do a serger windowed bag, but my serger's still at the shop because I fried it a couple weeks ago. That was part of that meltdown that I had a couple weeks ago. So I have redone the pattern for a sewing machine, and this is the bag, and it's windowed so you can see through it. It's a cookie bag, but you could use it for anything. It's completely lined and all the seams are encased, so therefore it's really nice. It's more nice for a lot of things, not just cookies. You could anything really. You could use it for, you could do it in non-Christmas colors and just do it to keep your things in, and a cosmetic bag. You can make it pretty much any size, but I did mine this size, which is approximately about 7 inches by about 7 by 7. It's about a turn. You can make it any size. So here's what you need for it. I don't have written instructions, so you just have to keep going back in the video. One of these days I might write them up. I just finished redoing the instructions to translate to sewing machine. So what you need is you start out with a Ziploc bag. I don't want to use vinyl. You could use vinyl, but vinyl is kind of stiff. You know, the kind that you buy at Joann's and Michael's. It's kind of stiff. I like it to have more, more drape to it, more softness to it. So a good Ziploc bag. This one is a quart size, and I cut most. That's what I use as my window. And of course I use the side that's clear. And I don't want to advertise the cut. I guess you could write on this side if you cut it off there. So first of all, you want to decide what size bag, and your width is limited by the size of your bag. However bag, you could use a gallon one and make a bigger bag. So, but for this other things, what you need is, first of all, you want to determine how big your bag is, and so I came up with a number. Here's some of the things you need. I knew it had to be 7 inches wide because that's just the size I determined. So the first thing you determine is how big of a bag you want. So what I do is I cut this 7 inches, okay, and then I folded in what I thought would be a nice hem. Okay, and this is going to be the size of my finished bag. So you will, first of all, you want to cut one front, or this is actually the back of your bag. So it's this side. Okay. So you cut this out. Okay. So if you decide that I wanted my bag, let's see, the back of the bag, it's going to be your width. However wide you want your finished bag. I wanted my finished bag to be 6.5 inches, so I cut 7 inches. And all the pieces I'm going to cut are going to be 7 inches wide from here on in. Okay, and then for the height, if I wanted it, I forgot what it ended up, but I ended up cutting this 7 plus 9 3/4. So what you want to do is take whatever height of your finished bag and add 1.5 inches. You could add more if you want. And why I'm adding more is because this is the top of my bag, and then the 1.5 inches is gone inside for the inside hem. Okay, so I cut 7 inches by 9 3/4. Okay, so to figure out my lining piece, so I have a lining piece on the back. We're talking about the back first of all. And I'll write down the dimensions that I cut my stuff. I'll put it in the comments section, so if you don't want to figure it out, do all the little formulas that I have, then what you can do is just make it for this size, which is for a pint-size Ziploc bag. So I cut my lining. If you're figuring your lining, you have your 7 inches or whatever, or 6.5 inches plus 1/2 inch. Those are your 1/4 inch seams on the side. And the height is going to be whatever you want height finished minus an inch. So if I want this to be 7 by 7, I'm going to cut this 7 inch, or 6.5 by 7. I'm going to cut this less 1/2 inch by 7 inches wide, like that. That's your back lining, or I call it the back. So you have a front and a back, okay? And then you're going to determine the height of your window. How big of a window do you want to have, okay? I think I figured if you want a finished window, I think, where's my window? I cut my window. I wanted the finished window to be 3 inches wide. And it's going to be by 7, but I'm going to add a 1/2 inch for 2 seams. So I'm going to cut 1 3.5 by 7 inch wide for the window. Okay, so here's what I did. Let me show you. I'll figure these. Like I said, it's easier just to do it. And you need your iron on. Just for a little while. You've got to be real careful with the iron because you'll bust your window. Okay, so I'm going to actually take this is going to be my back. And I'm going to work with this back for a little bit. So I know that I'm going to figure out the hem. So I know I'm going to have to take some of this and fold it 1/4 inch. You have to do this later anyway. Okay, and I know it's going to be about 1 inch down, about 1 1/4 inches down. And I'm just gonna, wait a minute, you can't see that. Okay, I'm pressing, let me, this way. Okay, so about 1 1/4 inches down. I want that top to be about 1 1/4 inches. So I'm just going to press that. Okay, and I know that this is going to be the back, the lining. So if I line up the very bottom, what is that line? Oh, it's the power cord. I'm sorry. What is that line? That's the power cord. Okay, so I pressed in the hem on the top edge, and I'm just placing this right here at the edge, matching the bottom and the sides. And I just need to make sure that this hem is going to cover that by about 1/4 inch. It can be more. You can have this go all the way up here if you want. I don't recommend it. It makes it hard to thread the ribbon if you've got too many layers of fabric up here. Okay, and then now we're going to work on the bottom of we're going to place my window, and it's hard to see. So I said, okay, I want my window about right there. Okay, so I'm going to first start with the bottom of the window, and that's 2 inches from the bottom. So I want to add a 1/2 inch for the seam allowance on the window side and on this side. So I cut one of the bottom fronts lining pieces 2.5 inches by 7 inches, and we'll have a different front. That's all. Sorry, I don't know what happened to the piece. Goodness me. Okay, another thing you're also going to need is about 1 yard of just plain ribbon. Okay, so I'm going to take my window piece and I'm going to put it, sandwich it in between. I'm going to sandwich it in between the right sides together on fabric. And it's very hard to see. So you do need some good lighting. And you want to use clips. Don't use pins because you don't want to put holes in the window. And the window is going to be a little bigger. So piece. You don't have to worry about having a Teflon foot. See, I just put it between. I'll move this here. Okay. You don't have to worry about a Teflon foot because you're not actually putting plastic against either the top or the bottom of your machine. Okay, and then we're going to come over to the machine, and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam. You want to change your stitch length. You want it to be a little bit longer because you've got plastic, so therefore you don't want to make the holes too small because it'll perforate the plastic. And I want to just sew a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, and you don't have to back tack. Okay, I'm going to open the seam, and I'm going to finger press it closed. I'm going to finger press it crisp. You can't put an iron on this, you're going to ruin it. So this will be my front. The glitter part is the front. And this is the back. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the sewing machine, and I'm going to top stitch it down. Because you can't press it. And you want that edge to be relatively crisp. Okay. If you like, you can baste along the bottom. And I'm just going to baste the bottom in. Just makes it handle a little easier. Okay, so now that's the bottom. We'll need to do the top. So I'm going to cut another piece. Now this top, you can make it bigger. You can always make it bigger and cut it back. Now this is, again, it's too big, but that's okay. And we're going to now take the top part of this window, and I'm going to put right sides together with the fabric again. Which is the right. There's lots of times where they all look the same, don't they? Okay. And put this here. You want to just match up the top and clip them. And it's slippery, that's why it's a little hard to pin together, because it just wants to keep moving. Okay, one more. Okay, and I'm going to sew the same thing. So I'll come over here and I'm going to sew another 1/4 inch. Again, finger press that. This is my top. Okay. And I will finger press that. And then I will top stitch right along the edge. And this is the front of my bag is done. Now, I've already pressed that one, but I want this finished of the white piece to be the same as the back lining. Where are we? Okay. This is the back of the front piece. This is my inside lining, and I want this, I'm going to cut off this much, because I don't need all that. we have extra. Like I said, it's better to have too much and cut it off than to not have enough. Okay. Okay. So, next thing we want to get the iron out. And again, what I've pressed here, I'm going to press here. And I may have to trim this too. Because I want to. I don't have to. It's the same, about close enough anyway. I want to press this down 1/4 inch. I want to bring this down so that it, what I want is this to overlap this bottom by about 1/4 inch, and then press that. Okay, so then I'm going to take my chalk marker. Okay, and I can do this on either side, it doesn't matter, but this is going to be the front. I want to leave an opening in here, right here along this edge and this edge, for my ribbon tie. So I will mark this. I'm going to stitch, put a mark here and a mark here. And do the same thing. It's about 1/4 inch from the top because I want to leave that open. And right here. Okay. Now I'm going to start to put this together. It's actually ready to start to stitch, and so from here it's really quick. So you've got, get rid of some of these threads. Okay. So I'm going to put this right sides together. And I have a little extra here. It's a little bit longer on this side. So I'm going to sew it this way. I'm just going to clip it for now. Right sides together. Clip here. Clipping. Where'd my clips go? There they are. Lily will pick them up. So anyway, this is the right side, and then I want to clip, make sure I catch the edges. And it may be a little long, and that's okay, because I'm just going to make sure I catch everything. Then I can trim it later. Okay, so then I'm going to put my lining together. So I have this. Now this is the right side of my lining right here. And then this is the back part of the lining. So I'm going to put this right here. I had quite a bit to sew up because I didn't measure it. Put that right sides together. Lining to lining, right sides together. Bag, outer bag to outer bag, right sides together. Okay. And this is all just rough cut. When I sew it, no one's going to know that it's not perfect. They'll think you're a genius. With clips everywhere. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go to the machine and I'm going to start to sew, and I made my marks here. And I lost a mark. No, I didn't. Okay. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to, let's see, do I have to catch any? Okay, I'm going to sew in about maybe 3/8. I'm going to leave that stitch length fairly large. Okay. Then here's the first of the marks. I'm going to back tack and break my thread. Now I'm going to come down to this second mark. In other words, I sew to here and break your thread, and then start here and then sew down. And I'm going to back tack because that's the opening. I'm going to sew these 3/8 so I catch all the edges. Okay. And this I'll catch right here. And I don't have to back tack the bottom. I could if I wanted to. Come up this side. I've got quite a bit in to take in, so I'm going to go a full 1/2 inch here. Just to make sure I catch everything, and I'm going to sew right up to this line right here. So you can see that line. Back tack. Okay. Go forward here and back tack right off the top. Okay. And I got to do some trimming. So now I'm going to trim it so that they're even. Yeah. Alrighty, so I have lining together, right sides together, the bag, right sides together. And I'm going to trim these to 1/4 inch. Okay, so I'm trimming it to about 1/4 inch. Here. Just get rid of some of this bulk. Okay, so now I'm ready to turn it. So I'm first, come back, and I'm going to turn the lining right sides together. In other words, the inside of the bag. And you can turn a corner if you stick your thumb into the corner, fold one side and then down the other, and you pinch it, that gets it 90% the way through. Do the same thing over here. Pull it through. Okay, and so like this doesn't look right. So what I want to do while it's here is I want to just go ahead and stick a, let's see, do I have a pencil with no lead? There. Just turn that in there, just turn those points a little bit neater. Point turner would work. Okay, then you're going to turn it bag right side out. Oh, I don't have to, just poke it through because those edges are turned already. The corners are nice and turned. Okay, the back looks different than the front, but that's okay. Okay. And virtually your bag is done. Okay, so now we just have to turn the hem. If you give it a press, stay way away from the plastic. Okay, and I'm going to, I just have to press these in a little bit because they didn't stick. press. It's over here. Come here. Press it down. And this is just where the seams are, where it's not really well pressed. Okay, I'm going to start over here. And see, now I've got an opening for my ribbon, and that's good. I'm going to put this down over, see the hem right here? Just make sure that that is over the white part or the lining. I'm just going to pin that. Now you can pin because you're not going through the vinyl. Do the other side. What do I do here? Let's see. There we go. And then over here, turn this and see how that opens. Just put that over top. Overlap it by 1/4 of an inch. Okay, same thing over here. So I just smooth this in, make sure that this middle is overlapping by about 1/4 of an inch. I'm just going to pin it for now. Okay, and then same thing on the 4th side. And everything is good and covered. Okay, and now we take it to the machine, and I'm going to top stitch the hem. So I'm going to just, I have it pinned on the inside. Now, I'm not going to turn it. If you have a free arm, you could work on it the other way, but I'm going to work on it with the right sides out. I don't need to have anything special. So let me just drop this down so I don't have my hands in the way. Alrighty. And I'm just going to start over here. Pin out and edge stitch it. Just make sure everything's tucked in. And I am just, can you see that? Let me see. Just keep this out of the way. I'll try to, so you can see I'm just edge stitching it. All right. Take the pins out as you come to them. And just pull it around as you sew. Okay. If you got a little bit of lapping, just sort of give it a little pleat. It's on the inside, it doesn't matter. Which means I didn't pin that really well. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to go about 1/4 of an inch from the top. I usually start at the side. If it's got a little pleat, you know, once you get the ribbon in there, it will be just fine. Okay, and now I need and I put my pin away. You need a safety pin or a bodkin. So I'm going to use a safety pin to thread my ribbons. So that's all I need to do now, is thread the ribbons together. So I've cut 2 ribbons about 18 inches long. And I'm just going to pin them together. And this is, to me, this is the hardest part, is threading this thing. So I'm going to just go in on one side. Sometimes you have to find out. Somehow I sewed all the way up there. But you know what? It's no big deal if you sew all the way up there, because this is why God gave us seam rippers. We'll just take it out. Okay, I'm stringing my ribbon through, and that ribbon is actually only on the outer part. Come over here. You just have to find it. Sometimes it's hard to get it through, so you just take something and just open it up to find out where it is. And arthritis in the fingers doesn't always help either. So you want to get that in. There we go. Okay, so I'm stringing it through one side. Okay. Then I'm going to unpin this. And I'm going to pull on one of these. I don't want them to both go through, just one. Let's see. It's this one. So this one doesn't go all the way through. I'm just going to pin that there for a second so I can't pull it all the way through. Okay. Don't want to pull it all the way through. Leave the other one alone. Okay. Alrighty, I have one of these. So I isolated. I want to make sure I have one ribbon, because you got two. I should be able to move it without moving the other one. Okay. So then I'm going to take this. And I'm going to pin it through just one ribbon and run it through the front. So I'll go back into the same hole, and sometimes that's the hardest part. There. And there we go. Okay. And which one is going? This one should be the one that's just going through the front. Nope. Okay. I want to find both ends, so this should be, that should put it together. There we go. So I'm going to even these up. And tie a knot. You should feel, if you pull on both of these, you should feel the resistance where it loops together. Okay, so I'm going to just tie that in a knot so I can't pull it through. It's done. Okay. Alrighty, so now this one, we want it to come out the other way. So I'm going to pull this. So my short end is, see the knot is on this side, so I want to pull through to that side. So I need my pin again. Put it on this side. And run it through the front. The other one went through the back. This one's going through the front. I think. Yes. You can do these separately if it gets too confusing. Do one, tie it, and then do the other one. That'll work too. There. Okay. Pull this knot and this knot. Undo the pin. Tie it together. There we go. Done. And see now it goes together. Cute, huh? Turned out decent. Okay. And so now this will open up and close. You can just put cookies or threads, or like if you have a secret sewing sister, just fill that up with all kinds of little threads and stuff that you got at a yard sale, because that could be a good $60 worth of thread just in that bag. Okay, so let's see if anyone's got any questions. Okay, I will go ahead and put the dimensions that I cut it in the comments section for you. I think it turned out cute, and it's a nice way to give a gift that you can actually, you could do some cute little personalized towels, little tea towels, or masks. This would be a great carrier for masks, and you could put their name in there or something like that. And so this is a great little bag for all kinds of things. And this one happens to be reversible, not on purpose. So anyway, you guys have a great evening. See you later. Bye.